Good afternoon and welcome to the How to Create Mission and Vision Statements webinar presented by the Word Woman LLC. Today's webinar is scheduled to go about an hour and a half depending on questions. However, the presentation portion will run just under an hour. The remaining time is set aside for your questions. So please do take notes and be prepared to ask questions at the end. Please note that if available, you may use your computer speakers and microphones to both view and listen to the presentation. If these are not available, please use the dial-in number that was to connect to the audio conference, and this information was included in your confirmation email, and it is also posted in the chat. If you dial into the conference, please make sure your speakers and microphone are on the turn off on your computer are turned off, and in order to prevent echoes and feedback. My name is Michelle Nusum-Smith, and I am owner and principal consultant at the Word Woman LLC. I started my company in 2010 to help new and emerging nonprofit organizations, as well as government agencies and individuals, to achieve their mission to do good. My company provides consulting, coaching, and training services to do-gooders like you. Thank you so much for taking the time to participate in my webinar today. Let's get started. So today what you will learn is the purpose of mission and vision statements. You will take a look at a couple examples of good mission statements. We will also discuss how mission and vision statements impact the day-to-day work of a nonprofit. We will also talk about how to go about developing your own mission and vision statement, and how to create effective mission and vision statements for your nonprofit or to improve the one you currently have. So to begin with, let's talk about the mission statement. Now, some folks use mission and vision statements interchangeably, but they are different. And your mission statement is that core message that is communicating what the purpose of your organization is, what groups you serve, what do you plan to do, and how do you plan to make a difference. For a new nonprofit, developing the mission statement is a critical first step, because what happens is everything that you do, the mission statement serves as a foundation for what you're going to build. And so if your mission statement isn't clear, then you can find yourself working on projects or activities that don't align with your core purpose, or it could be confusing for those that you serve, or even the partners that you might want to gain with other partnerships with other organizations and the like. So it's very important to have a clear mission statement that tells not only those who are within the organization, but those who are outside of the organization, why you exist. And we'll get into how that affects those different groups in a moment. But you want to be sure that you're very clear about why you exist in the mission statement. And what I mean by that is the formal mission statement that everyone is sort of using as their guidepost needs to be very clear about the purpose of why you exist. So the vision statement is a little bit different in that it's looking not from the starting point of why did we get started, but at what do we hope to see when we get finished. And so your vision statement will communicate to the rest of the world, as well as to your internal stakeholders, what the nonprofit believes the world will look like when the mission is achieved. And so your vision statement could be, for lack of a better way of describing it, it could be sort of, like, it's so harebrained, or it's, out of this world, but the reality is that until something happens, until someone invents something or creates a change that they believe is possible, they're confronted with, naysayers and unbelievers. And so don't be so concerned with whether or not you think that the vision statement is outside of reach, because it's really about what you might expect to see in a long-term process. Many organizations will, particularly, let's say if we're talking about a health organization or an organization that is focused on doing away with something. So the vision may be about what the world will look like when that problem is gone, but getting to that place may take many years. And so it's just about getting you started, but it's also about inspiring you to keep going and to stay in the work. And so it really serves as a way to motivate your internal as well as your external stakeholders. This seems like it's an impossible task that we're undertaking. But if I can keep my mind focused on what is to come versus what is, then it keeps me, in the mindset that I'm in the trenches now, but it's not so bad. And so that's why the mission and vision statements together work so well, because your mission statement helps you to understand and remember the purpose of why you exist. And your vision statement serves to keep you inspired about what you hope the world will look like when your purpose is fulfilled. So your mission statement can make your nonprofit, this great, phenomenal organization that's world-renowned, or it can make it history. And what I mean by that is, again, if your mission statement is not clear, then it's kind of like building a home without any blueprints. And so you just tell a group of people to come together and build a home. But if they don't know what home that if they don't have a shared idea of where they're supposed to build the house, why they're supposed to be building the house, then, they may be very talented people, but they could actually be working against one another. And this happens sometimes even within organizations where if your purpose is not clear and we don't stay focused on the purpose, then we can actually be in a situation where staff or board members will start rallying behind doing activities or engaging in programs or partnerships that are in conflict with the purpose. And so having a clear understanding about the purpose and having everyone know what that purpose is helps you it positions your organization to be better equipped to fulfill the purpose. And so in this cartoon here, the mission is, why are we doing that? And so, and as he says, it's not a great mission statement, but we'll revise it if things get better. Well, things will never get better if the mission statement isn't clear. Because, again, you're going to be continuously in this, cycle of doing things that may be moving you forward, back. And so, again, can't stress enough how important your mission statement is to not only, the brand new organization that is just getting started, but also to the organization that's been around for quite a while and is looking to continue to be around for a while. Sustainability of your organization is heavily dependent upon your mission statement and how clear it is. And what I mean by that is sometimes your mission statements for an organization will have evolved, or it may need to be revised and updated based on internal, external factors, just shifts that are happening within the community or within those that you serve. And so you may need to change your mission statement, or revise it, I should say, to ensure that it remains true to meeting the needs of those that you want to serve, or in a case where your organization fulfills its initial purpose, then you may need to create a new mission statement if, in fact, the board decides that that's what should happen. So mission and vision statements, as I said, they provide the foundation for your organization for everything, including your programs, your services, your communications. What messages do you put out into the ether about what you do and how you do it, the organization, how it functions operationally, and the culture within your organization are all built upon the mission and vision statements. And as I said, these statements impact your organization both internally and externally. And so you have all of these potential stakeholders that are going to be connected and impacted, or have the power to impact your organization. And so if you take a look at this graphic here, of course, your clients, the community that you serve, your employees, and potentially their family members who may be involved or impacted in some way by what happens within the organization, volunteers and their families, because think about this, if your employees and your volunteers are not clear about the mission and vision of your organization, then their family members won't be, and they're not positioned to engage new stakeholders or turn those family members into volunteers and donors and just folks who are really supporting the organization because the message isn't clear. Of course, helping partners to understand how does what we do fit with what your organization does? How does our purpose align or complement your purpose? And so that's another reason why it's so important that your partners are clear about the mission of your organization. Donors, of course, need to know that they're investing in a purpose that your organization is committed to fulfill. And so if your organization's mission statement says that you're doing one thing, but in reality you're doing something else, that will definitely have an impact on your donors. Government, there's two ways in which government may be affected by what happens with your mission statement. So when your organization applies for 501c3 status and you report to the IRS what your mission is, your 501c3 tax exempt status is tied to that mission. And so your activities, the revenue that you bring in, it should all be related to the mission that you have, reported to the IRS. Because if you were to do something that's outside the mission and you generated an income from that, then it would be considered unrelated business income and potentially taxable. On the other hand, your mission, as it relates to the mission of the government, a particular agency, you could be a partner or grantee of a government agency based on the work that you do and your mission and purpose and how it aligns with what the government agency's mission and purpose is and its desire and need to engage nonprofit partners to fulfill that. And so, as you can see, there's this, spectrum of potential stakeholders who are all impacted by how clear your mission statement is and how clear they are on what it is that you do and your purpose for doing it. So let's look a little more closely at internally how your mission statements could be used. Your mission statement could be used. So, of course, your mission statement will inspire, motivate, and unify your staff, board members, and volunteers. So, as I mentioned before, you want to make sure that there's a single message when it comes to the mission, that everyone is, it's almost like having a map. There's lots of ways to resolve a potential issue, potentially. There's a lot of ways to resolve an issue. But your organization may have, within its mission, decided that its purpose is to take one path. And that's what we do. To not necessarily solve the entire spectrum of the problem, but this piece of the problem is what we focus on. And so if your staff members, board members, and volunteers all understand this, then they're all going to be working together and have a shared understanding and be an army working toward the same purpose. Your mission statement helps to guide your leaders through decision-making and strategic planning processes. Again, if you're, I highly recommend, particularly at board meetings, that you have the mission statement printed on the agenda, and that you kind of, remind your board members to be always, consciously aware of what the mission is, so that it can guide the decision making. So when it comes to new programs or activities, does this, proposed activity align with the purpose of why the organization exists? Does this align with what we're doing? Just a quick example, I heard from a participant in a training once that she serves on a nonprofit board that works with individuals who are in substance abuse, recovery from drugs and alcohol. And one of the board members, we were discussing a fundraising event, and I guess he'd forgotten what was the mission and purpose of their organization, because he had suggested that they have a cash bar at their fundraising event. Now, if your mission is to help individuals who are recovering from addiction of drugs and alcohol, you would not want to have an event where you are promoting the use of drugs and alcohol. Well, alcohol in this case. And granted, yes, having a cash bar might be a great strategy for raising money, but it would conflict with the purpose of the organization. So, if you have a cash bar, that means none of your clients are going to be coming to your fundraising event. And if they did come, then you potentially put them at risk. And so it's always very important to kind of keep the mission statement front and centered, so you don't have these kind of, slips in decision making. Of course, your mission statement serves as the root for your organization's intended impact, of course, so it guides how you design your programs and who you serve, of course. It helps you with setting goals and identifying measures of success. So if the purpose of the organization is to ensure that every child enters school ready to learn, then you might design programs that measures of success relate to, what are some of those key skills and abilities that a young person might need going into kindergarten. And that's how you measure your success. How many young people, students, have we been able to help get into school and have, during that first year or few months in school, when they get evaluated on their school readiness, those would be measures of success. And then, of course, your mission statement helps you establish and reinforce your values, norms, and beliefs. And this is related to the culture and how your organization operates. You know, what is how do you engage people, and what do you think is important, and guides everything that you do as it relates to those that you serve and those who work within your organization. So externally, your mission statements can be used to, of course, help inspire and generate external partners. Again, we talked about donors. We talked about friends and family of your current employees and volunteers, of course, partners, other organizations, and governmental agencies. And it also helps to communicate your goals and aspirations to those folks. You know, so you want them to be inspired and excited, but also be very clear about what it is that you are looking to do. You know, your specific goals for maybe within a specific time frame that will get you closer to achieving your purpose. And so how do they tie in, and how can they collaborate with you on that? So let's look really at how the mission and vision statements guide us to really fulfilling the purpose. And so mission and vision statements, their mission statement tells you who you are and what you value, what's important. Your vision statement is what we want to become, or what we want the world to look like when we have fulfilled our purpose. Your strategy is how will we achieve our vision? How will we get to this place? And then the goals and objectives are that drill down. So you're going to go from sort of overarching big picture strategies to defining goals and measurable objectives that help you to see, progress towards achieving the mission and vision. And again, your mission and vision statements are communicated to help you to communicate your purpose to your stakeholders. So, what is your favorite mission statement? So here, are a few of my, a few mission statements that I really like. And they're very clear about their purpose. And they're not these long, drawn out, paragraphs. So TED, I'm sure you've heard of like the TED Talks. Their mission is very straightforward and simple, spreading ideas, and that's what they do. They create opportunities for individuals to share ideas, to share expertise, to share stories, and so it's their purpose is to spread ideas. Live Strong. Their mission is to inspire and empower people affected by cancer. So it's very clear about why they exist. St. Vincent de Paul, their mission is to ensure those impacted by poverty have the skills and resources to achieve their full potential. Very, very clear. But as you will notice, there's clarity without rigidity. They're not so narrowly specific about their purpose that there's no flexibility within it to seize opportunities. And then last but not least is Wounded Warrior Project, and their mission is to honor and empower wounded warriors. And so, as you can see, these are all very succinct mission statements, but they are all very clear and inspiring or impactful, intriguing, if you will, about why these organizations exist, and describing why these organizations exist. So your mission statement in a t-shirt. So again, you want to be sure that your mission statement is something that people can remember. If your mission statement is this long, if it's a long paragraph or it's one long sentence with lots of commas or semicolons, then even within your internal organization, internally within your organization, there's the potential for confusion. There's the potential for folks to misunderstand what your mission is, your purpose is, or to have it evolve into something that is really more so what they believe your mission is versus what it actually is. And so the best mission statements are one sentence that describe why your nonprofit exists. I mean, again, looking at these examples, very succinct, but they're very clear. So you don't have to create a mission statement that tells every single thing you do or every single thing you expect to do within your organization, because those are what you do, not your purpose. And so let's just be mindful of that as you're developing your mission statement, or if you're you currently have a mission statement that you may be wanting to revise. Keep that in mind, that your mission statement, every one of your board members, every one of your staff members should be able to easily recall the mission statement. And what happens is the clear and succinct that it is, the more those stakeholders internally and externally will be a chorus singing the same song and using the same words to describe your mission statement, versus if it's this very long, drawn-out statement that really is probably more of a mission statement or even a description of your values versus an actual mission statement. So let's look at some good examples of mission and vision statements and how they can complement one another. So Habitat for Humanity International, which is the, I guess you could say the parent organization for the various Habitat for Humanity organizations that you might see within your, you might have one in your local community. So, but the mission for the international is to bring people together to build homes, communities, and hope. Very clear. What is our purpose? We bring people together. Why do we bring them together? To build homes, communities, and hope. And then their vision is a world where everyone has a decent place to live. So again, not very long, not drawn out, but very clear. And so whether you are at the international office or you are in the local community office, the mission remains the same. Everyone is very clear about why do we exist. We exist so that we can bring people together. And what are those people doing? They're building homes that build communities and hope. The Nature Conservancy, their mission is to conserve the lands and waters on which all life depends. And so at the core is conservation. What are they conserving? Lands and waters. And they're doing this for all life. So it's very, very clear, but succinct. And their vision is to leave a sustainable world for future generations. Isn't that incredible? That's, it's one of my, it's one of those that anybody can, who cares about humanity, who cares about people and life, animals, can connect with. And the idea that we don't want to destroy the earth because we know that there are people who will come after us. And so it's a great mission and vision that they have. And then Save the Children. So their mission is to inspire breakthroughs in the way the world treats children and to achieve immediate and lasting change in their lives. Now this one is a little longer, but it's still pretty short and succinct. So they inspire breakthroughs. And so by using a word like breakthroughs, they don't put themselves in a box. So there's, many different breakthroughs that might come about that would, improve how children are treated around the world. And they're looking to see immediate, which is awesome, because when you talk about, impact, there are people, donors, who want to see an immediate impact. And so having a mission that says we exist so that there's some immediate impact, but we also want to have lasting change, it's great. And then the vision statement for Save the Children is a world in which every child attains the right to survival, protection, development, and participation. Isn't that wonderful? And what's interesting about their vision is that they're envisioning a world where every child can attain the right, which is, it kind of is a reminder, even with their vision statement, that there are children today who don't have the right to survive, to be protected, to develop, and participate in their life, to feel empowered. And so their mission and vision statements both inspire and create a sense of urgency. So defining the mission. So one of the cautions that I will give you is around not allowing your activities or those things that you desire to do to be mistaken for your mission, and to not allow those things to drive your mission. Your purpose for existing is not to offer your programs, okay? So you want to be looking at the problem or opportunity, because and every organization doesn't exist to eradicate a problem, but maybe there is an opportunity that you want to build on. And so in defining your mission, you want to go through a process in which you first define the problem or opportunity. Because if you are not clear about the problem you're looking to solve, then you potentially develop a mission statement that is, really broad and over, and lack of a better way of putting it, all over the place, or you're taking on too much. And so you want to know, well, what is the problem? Or, it could be more than one, but what are the specific issues or opportunities that your organization exists to address? And then you will build a mission around that. Engaging other folks in the discussion and the process is very important. You do not want, even as the founder of an organization, I meet with many people who have started an organization, they have a passion for their cause, and they're very clear about why they want to start a nonprofit or why they started one. But even if you have a working draft, a working idea of what your mission statement is, I highly recommend that you engage other stakeholders in the discussion to help you to fine-tune it and to make it very clear, and ensure that it's not about you, because sometimes, we get in our own space and we create a mission statement that's really so tied to us as the founder or the person who is doing this work, that it becomes dependent upon you, and you don't want to be in a situation like that. So who might you bring to the table to help you to fine-tune your mission statement? Of course, your board members. Your board members first and foremost, because at the end of the day, your board, they are the governing body, they're the leaders of the organization, and they're ultimately responsible for ensuring that your organization fulfills its purpose. And so they should be front and center. If your organization currently exists, then, you know, senior staff members or program staff members, folks who are actually delivering on the work, and then also volunteers might be at the table to provide their insight as well. So let's look at some things that you should avoid as you develop your mission statement. So you want to avoid jargon that only professionals in your particular field will understand. So again, clarity, clarity, clarity. So if you're using words that the average person on the street won't understand in your mission, if you're using those words in your mission statement, then your mission statement needs to be revised. One of the main purposes of your mission statement is to be so that people outside of your organization understand why you exist. And so if they don't even understand the words in the mission statement, then they're not going to understand why you exist. And how can they get engaged and support something that they don't understand? You don't want to use really stilted and formal language. It should, you know, that people give to people, people support people. This is a people business that nonprofits are in. Even if you are saving the whales, at the end of the day, the whales are benefiting from people giving to people, people supporting people, people engaging people. And so you want to have language that is inviting, clear, inviting, but it's very clear that when I'm reading the mission statement that there is a person behind this work. So you want to avoid, you know, very formal language or something that makes you feel like you're reading, you know, the Constitution or something like that. You want to avoid that kind of language. You want to avoid using passive voice. And passive voice is one of the reasons why or how your mission statement ends up being this long, drawn-out statement, you know, because you're not getting straight to the point. So, for example, in a passive voice mission statement, you'd say XYZ is an organization that helps women achieve independence. Whereas in active voice, you're just getting straight to the point. XYZ helps women achieve independence. So avoid passive voice, avoid using a lot of that kind of filler language. And this is, again, where bringing in your other stakeholders can help you to kind of massage your working draft mission statement and pull out some of those really those phrases and extra words really are a distraction. I mean, you don't need it to communicate the purpose, and so pull it out. A focus on the group rather than the people it serves is a big mistake. Your organization does not exist to serve you. It does not exist for the benefit of the organization. It exists for the clients or the beneficiaries. And so you want your mission statement to be outward focused. Who or what is going to benefit from what you do versus how great you are. And then avoid generalities such as saving the world or eradicating poverty. Saving the world tells the reader nothing, you know. I exist to save the world. Okay, now. So you want to give some level of clarity, and again, once you have defined the problem that you are looking to serve, you can kind of drill down, because you're not going to save the entire world, but there's probably a piece of the world that you're going to save, and so that's what you want your mission statement to explain, to highlight, versus, oh, we're the end-all, be-all, we're going to do it all and save everybody. That's not true, you know, and it could be it could be narrowed down based on geography. It could be narrowed down based on gender or family. Just, you know, really think about, or the activity, like what you do, can help you fine-tune and avoid those generalities. And so, and again, eradicating poverty. There's so many levels of or indicators, I should say, of poverty or areas of someone's life. And so if your organization focuses on employment, economic development, then you may not address everything that's related to poverty. And so you wouldn't necessarily want to say that you alone are going to eradicate poverty, because it's probably not true, even for this optimist. So create your mission and vision exercise. So this is an activity that I would love for you to engage in on your own, and I would be very happy to take a look at what you prepare and provide you with some feedback. So you're going to actually go through the exercise of creating mission and vision statements for your organization. So first you will explain what the problem or problems that your organization exists to solve, and then you will go from there and talk about who is affected by the problem. From there, you're going to answer the question, how would the community be improved, changed, or different in your organization's efforts if your organization's efforts were successful in solving the problem or resolving the need. And so based on answering these three questions, which I'd like for you to provide the answers to, I would like for you to draft a mission statement and a vision statement for your organization. And if you could send it to info@thewordwomanllc.com within 48 hours of this session, I will review it and get back to you with my feedback. And I hope that you have found this webinar. I'm so used to being in places where I'm talking to people directly. I hope that you have found this webinar to be helpful. I am going to open the lines to take your questions.